I wanted to talk a little bit about the settlement that's going on with the National Association of Realtors lawsuit. So you may have heard about this in the news. National Association of Realtors plus a whole bunch of very large brokerages were sued, and the National Association of Realtors lost that lawsuit. So there are two results, because a lot of people are saying, so what's the future? I've been seeing headlines about commissions and all sorts of things. And unfortunately, some of those headlines have been a little bit misleading, just in terms of the actual facts of what's happened. So the settlement that's been proposed is twofold. So there's two real things that have come out of this settlement. Number one is you're agreeing to sign a buyer's representation agreement with the client, or some sort of representation agreement with the client prior to showing a home. So if you've worked with me before, you know that that's not always the order I do things in. It depends on the situation. It depends on who I'm working with and what our timeline is. There's a lot of factors in there, but the National Association of Realtors, my guess, and I'm having to kind of read between the lines here a little bit, but my guess for why they want to do that is just so that buyers are clear as to the expectations from the very, very start of working with someone. And if you're showing a home to someone, there's probably some level of intent that's involved. So you do sign a representation agreement or some sort of agreement that explains to a potential buyer who is, now a client of yours, what the expectations are, what the compensation is, and all those sorts of things. So that's number one. Number two, the MLSs, so the system that I use as a real estate agent to go on and search for homes and look for prices and things like that. Currently, and until I think August is the current projection, though that date has moved a little bit. Currently, they list what a seller is going to pay a buyer's agent in commission. So if you don't know, when you sell a house, traditionally speaking, the seller lists the house for X, and it's always negotiable, but X commission, and then that commission is split up between buyer's agent and seller's agent. It's not always 50-50, but usually that's what it is. But it depends on the seller and depends on the seller's agent, what they decide to do. So that field, what the buyer's agent is getting paid is currently on the MLS. So it'll tell the buyer's agent what they're getting paid as they go into even just show a house. Well, they have decided to remove that from the MLS. And again, if I'm understanding correctly, the main reason they're doing this is there have been some unscrupulous realtors out there who, when they would create a search for someone, they would filter out anything that didn't give the percentage of commission that they wanted. So, let's say they wanted only houses that were going to pay them 4% commission. Well, right now you can actually go into the MLS and sort out homes that might be a perfectly good home and might be good for the buyer, but they're not paying the commission that agent expects or wants. Without going too far in the weeds, those are the two things. So again, buyer's agents now have to have a signed agreement with a client before showing a house. That's kind of crazy to me, but again, probably a good thing that we're all being held to that standard. And the other is that the MLS will no longer, and this hasn't quite happened yet, but the MLS will no longer put the commission in the MLS. So that's the story. It's a little bit long, but I hope that helps explain. So let me know if you have questions. Happy to answer them if I can. All right. Thanks. Take care.